All right, friends, we'll start here in just a few minutes. For those who are here, I welcome you to bring yourself to presence. Allow yourself to be here, just here, right now. To bring yourself to rest for a bit of time, just to be. Without the need to be anything in particular. And we'll begin in a few moments. But for now, just bring yourself to rest. So, welcome. Welcome to Satsang. I know it is called Dharma Talk in the title, simply because that's a more familiar term or an accessible term for many people. But here we are in Satsang. And Satsang is Sat, which is truth. the absolute, not the mind-generated truth, not the ideas of truth, but just the essence of being. Sat is truth, and song is sangha, together, to come together and to explore and be together in a rested stillness, in a rested embrace of the divine truth of our being. That's what we get to do here in Satsang. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Take a moment. Come to rest in this moment. Be present to this moment. Drawing your attention down to the breath. Simply as a way of anchoring your attention, of bringing the attention out of the busyness of mind and down into the peace of your being. And we use the breath as simply a tool, a place to put our attention. So we might be free for just a little while of all the mind's activities, thoughts, beliefs, judgments, opinions, assessments. Just bring your attention down into the body. Notice the slight rise and fall of your belly and chest as the air moves in and out of your body. It can be helpful to bring your attention to your heart. And imagine that it is your heart that is breathing. Imagine the heart gently expanding and contracting with each breath. And this is a wonderful tool you can use in your own meditation. As you bring your attention to the breath, as you bring attention to your heart, imagine the heart is breathing. And imagine that with each inhalation, the heart expands. And with the exhalation, the heart stays at that expansion. And with the next inhalation, it expands more, like a balloon. You're blowing up a balloon. And with each inhalation, allow the heart space, the feeling in your chest, in your body, to expand. Because when we drop the attention out of the mind into our being, into the essence of our being, ultimately what we find is a boundless nature of being. So that is dropping into our presence, into our moment, into this moment. So welcome to Satsang. When we pay attention, when we really look at what is it that we want and what is it that is disturbing to us, what makes life much more difficult and what makes life feel more navigable, that we are able to attend to our life with more grace, with more ease, with more clarity. We start to get a sense that one of the things we are seeking, if you will, is freedom. Freedom, ease, to be unshackled, to be unburdened, to be unconstrained. And what is typically shackling us and burdening us and constraining us and limiting us is our own mind. It's not an evil mind. It's a brilliant mind. We have a brilliant mind in its capacity to make things up, to create stories and narratives. It's how we create things. It's how we create form out of the formless. The mind is brilliant. But that very same mind is also full of conditioning. It is programmed with everything we've learned from society, from mom, from dad, from previous times, moments, experiences in our lives, often in childhood, that a child's mind couldn't make sense of. And so we make up a story of limitation, smallness. We are burdened with our mind's conditioning, our mind's programming. And the freedom that we're seeking, one way to describe it, is the freedom is simply the peace to simply be what we really are. Just to be. The freedom to simply be. And not to be what the mind, the conditioning and the programming tells us we need to be in order to be acceptable, in order to be lovable, in order to be happy. When we come to rest in our essential being of peace, we find a contentment, a fulfillment of being. And when we don't know that, when we don't know our own divinity, our own essential truth, our spiritual nature of consciousness, when we don't know that, of course we seek the freedom and the happiness from the world of conditions and relationships and form and experiences. Freedom is to be free of the mind's constant drive of chasing experience, chasing goodness, chasing the things that we believe are going to make us happy and fulfilled. And then freedom is to be free of that chasing, and freedom is freedom to be free of the clinging to what we find, to, oh, I've got the right house, I've got the right relationship, I've got the right job, I've got the right experience. And then there's the clinging to that, hoping it doesn't change, hoping it doesn't go away. And then there's the resistance of the mind, the resistance of anything that is counterproductive or anything that counters that construct we've put together of, okay, this is what makes me happy. Well, these things are starting to happen, and these things do not fit in with this model of happiness that I'm clinging to. And so I need to resist them, push them away. But maybe they keep coming. Maybe I'm not in control. And then there's suffering, and then there's struggle. So freedom is to be free, to be the stillness and the peace of consciousness, the consciousness that is unwavering, the awareness, the witness, the observer, the observing consciousness of all of the activity of the world and all the activity of what our mind makes up about the world. Peace or freedom is to come to the knowing of our inherent and essential and unwavering peace of being. That is what this journey is, to awaken as who you already are. And every meditation, every study, every satsang, every conscious conversation is an opportunity to interrupt the habitual thinking, rationalization, assessments, judgments, opinions, beliefs of the mind, to interrupt the habitual activities of the mind that are veiling the truth of our being, the stories that the mind makes up that are veiling and clouding the knowing of our essential nature, our truth. So today, let's talk about what does it take to come home and come to rest in the home of our being and trust it and know it and live not in that peace, but live as that peace. To live not in the stillness, but as the stillness of being. The unwavering, peaceful, content, fulfilled consciousness of being within which a life unfolds in all of its forms, in all of its emotions, in all of its thoughts, in all of its activities and relationships and conditions and situations. What if you could hold space, if you will, for all of that to come and go and arise and pass and be born and die? What if you could embrace and hold space for all of that as the peaceful consciousness of being that you truly are? What does it take? It isn't a matter of getting all of that to behave out there. It's not a matter of getting everybody in your life to behave properly the way that you want. It's not a matter of even getting your own mind to behave the way that you want all the time. It's not a matter of getting all the conditions of life to behave the way that you want all the time. You may have noticed it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. It's a constant struggle we go through of chasing putting their life together and putting all of our relationships together in just such a way that they are always behaving. Or even thinking that our mind is always just going to behave. You notice thoughts just appear. I was cooking dinner last night, chopping vegetables. And all of a sudden my mind just, I don't know, I remembered some dynamic. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was some dynamic of a moment that happened way back when. It had nothing to do with chopping vegetables. It was just a scene, a moment, a situation. And in that moment, I remember taking a pause and going, wow, did I just choose that thought? I didn't just sit here and go, I think I'm going to go back and recall that moment. Oh yeah, it was back when I worked at a certain job, and just what that atmosphere was like in that workplace. I wasn't chopping vegetables and thinking, I think I'm going to go back and remember that. It just appeared. Situations in life just appear. You don't know what's around the next corner. You don't know what that person's about to say. You don't know what's going to happen, typically one moment to the next. You don't know what the people who you're in relationship with, what might be happening in their life and how they might be attending to it or feeling about it, and how that may influence their words or their actions or their feelings. It's always changing. But when we awaken as the essential awareness of being, the consciousness of being, we come to find something that doesn't change. And that is the conscious awareness of everything that is unfolding within that consciousness, within that awareness, that stillness of being. And in this journey, on this path, we come to recognize, oh, that's me. That's not a temporary state of mind. It's not a temporary, peaceful combination of feelings. We feel that. We feel the calmness of mind. We feel the calmness of feelings. But those are kind of passing states, if you will, simply because we are present with the unwavering, unchanging peace of being. And it takes practice, and it takes devotion, and it takes study, and it takes intention to awaken as and abide and accept that unwavering grace, that unwavering peace of being as the true self. It takes a while, because we're waking up out of a dream of self that we have constructed in our own mind. It's called the ego self, the ego body. we've constructed a story of self, a narrative of self based on everything that we were taught and everything that we've learned and all of our conditioning and all of our programming. And we create a story of self that we are telling and believing and telling and believing and telling and believing. And even if we're recognizing it, we might have a disturbing story of self. We then try to change that story of self to be a more positive one. But the problem is it's still a story of self. And it's a story constructed again from mind. It's not going to the essential nature of our being that we are. It's simply telling a better story, a more pleasing story, and probably a more accurate story, but it's still a story. And we're simply telling that story. The mind is now rewriting its narrative of self. And anything that is a creation of the mind is subject to the doubts of the mind, the fears of the mind, the imagination of the mind. And you all know this. This is what happens. We maybe we go to a retreat and we come back and we have we're empowered. All right, I just feel so much more clear about my capacities and my lovability and my okayness. But if it isn't arising from the recognition of our inherent essential nature of being, which is always okay, it's beyond, it's transcendent of the personal self. If we don't go there, then we might come back from the retreat with a lot of new, really positive and inspiring and supportive ideas about self. But if it's only a rewriting of the story, if you will, in the mind, that's helpful. No doubt it's helpful. And some of it's going to last. But you'll notice the very same mind that created the better story is going to then question its own story. Is that really true? Well, what about now? Wait a minute, I did this retreat, but I forgot all about that earlier incident in my life where I was abandoned or betrayed or told I was worthless. Now that starts to come in again. So what we're talking about here is that true freedom comes from a path, or can come from a path. It doesn't always have to, but typically it comes from a path of study and devotion and attention and repeated conversations that we make our self-knowing central to our lives, that we make know thyself a centerpiece of our lives. And that is coming to rest in the stillness and peace of being. So that life and relationships and situations and even our own mind can be in a state of constant change. All that activity can continue. And we can be with it as the peaceful essence of being that we are. But today I just wanted to remind us all, what does it take? Persistence, patience, practice, devotion. And the ego will say, I don't have time for that. Can't you see I'm trying to get all this to behave? Yeah. And wouldn't that be true freedom? To have a situation in life unfold differently than the way you wanted it to unfold in a challenging way, and even a disappointing way. And to be able to notice that to take whatever actions you need to take to adjust so that you can bring the situation or the relationship back into more alignment with your inner joy and your inner peace and your soulful way of feeling and being in the world? Wouldn't it be a superpower and true freedom to be able to take all the actions that you need to take and want to take in life without making all of that responsible for your happiness or your fulfillment? So freedom. Freedom is to awaken as the essential peace of being. The unwavering, rested stillness of consciousness within which all of life unfolds. To come to rest as that, to awaken as that, to accept that, to know that as the true self. That is to be unshackled from the conditioning and programming and storytelling of the mind. To be unburdened. By the troubling and troublesome activity of mind. To be able to watch that mind and notice it and marvel at it and attend to it, understand it, figure out where your troubling thoughts and beliefs and conditions come from. But not so that only when they are relieved you will be at peace. To be able to come, this is the direct path, to come to the peace of being so that you can attend to the troubled mind with true love. And not when I get the mind to fully behave and I get rid of all of my disempowering beliefs and conditioning and programming, only then will I finally know freedom. The essential nature of your being is already free. Consciousness has never not been free. It's just that we got lost in the stories and forgot the awareness of the stories, the consciousness of the stories. Rohan, hello. Good to see you. Is this live? Yes, it is, Rohan. Yes, it is live. You can ask questions, you can chat in, and it's good to have you in the dialogue. Typically, we are all lost in all the content of experience and our egoic opinions and judgments and assessments about all of it, chasing happiness, trying to get the world to behave and then clinging to the things that are working well, clinging to those things and then suffering when they start to change. No, don't. Oh, I had it all figured out. Darn it, life was working out well. Everyone was behaving. I had a great week, nothing, no problems arose. Why couldn't that just stay on that track? It's changed now, and now I'm unhappy again, and now I'm not at peace again. And we start to recognize that's not freedom. That's a constant chasing, a constant clinging, and a constant resistance to the dynamics of life and the dynamics of our own emotional landscape. So, I invite you now to simply recognize two things. All of the activity, all of the form, all of the movement of a life. That's one thing. The activity, the conditions, the ever shifting landscape of situations, relationships, thoughts, beliefs. So the first thing to be aware of is the activity, the ever changing activity of life. And the second thing is to be attentive to and aware of the stillness within which that activity is coming and going. So the analogies that are helpful are the movie screen is the stillness, and the movie that plays upon it is all the activity, the ever-changing activity of life, including our own mind's projections and thoughts and beliefs. Those are all playing out upon a still screen that is unchanging and isn't bothered whether the movie is a horror flick or a drama or a comedy. It is witnessing, it is noticing. It is the consciousness that has to be present to know the movie, but it itself is not disturbed by the movie. The other analogy is the sky and the weather. And to recognize that weather comes and goes. Some days very cloudy, some days very stormy. Other days just some light clouds, other days no clouds. The sky is never changing. The sky is always at peace with whatever weather pattern comes and goes. So the sky represents the stillness of consciousness, the stillness of awareness within which everything is coming and going, arising and passing and ever changing. So this is the meditation, to be aware of two things simultaneously. All of the activity of the movie, of the weather, of life, and the stillness within which that activity is occurring. The movie screen, the sky, consciousness. And the invitation here is to be more interested in the stillness than the activity. Notice the activity. It wants to captivate all of your attention. It wants 100% of your attention. And your practice now is to start saying, no, I'm also placing some of my attention on the stillness within which the activity is occurring. The stillness of being. And as you practice this, you'll start to be able to put at least 51% of your awareness and interest on the stillness. Be more interested in the stillness. Be more contemplative of the stillness. It's the thing that doesn't change. It's the freedom that you seek. It's the truth of being that you are. Be more interested in the stillness than in the activity appearing temporarily within the eternal stillness. Be more interested in the stillness. You're not trying to be something. You're not trying to be nothing. You're not trying to be the stillness. The trying is just activity of weather or the movie. What is aware of the trying? Stillness. Pull back and just be more interested in the stillness. This is your superpower. To awaken as that stillness so that you can have a fully dynamic life and not get so lost in it that you forget the essential piece of your being. And this takes practice, and it takes devotion, and it takes patience. To become a pro tennis player, to become masterful at golf or playing an instrument, to become a masterful tennis player, how many forehands do you have to hit? How many backhands? How many volleys at the net? How many serves do you need to practice? To master our own inner dynamic, to have inner mastery, to be able to live from the inside out and have that inner stillness, awake, present, stable, unwavering, which it is. But to know that, to live as that, takes practice and discipline and devotion. Every meditation is an intentional interruption of the dream that the mind is constructing about every moment, its opinions, its beliefs that are all based on its database of what it has learned and its conditioning and its programming and its old stories. And our meditations don't just have to be the formal sitting for a period of time. We can learn to move through our day at any moment, to be able to stop and remember that all of this activity and all of my thoughts about it and all of this form and even all of these emotions are happening within a stillness of consciousness that I truly am. And what if I'm at least 51% more interested in the stillness than in all the activity? I still get to be active in life. I still get to play in life. I still get to engage in life. But I'm not 100% consumed in all the activity. I'm rested in a stillness that can observe it all with so much more clarity. What does any pro athlete do? Let's think the Olympics. There's a gymnast. They're about to go perform on the balance beam. What do you probably see them doing off to the side before their performance? They're getting very quiet. Maybe they're rehearsing through their moves, but they're doing so often with their eyes closed, very, very centered in their true power, which isn't their belief. I'm going to do great. I'm going to do great. I'm going to do fantastic. Oh, I hope I don't screw up. I hope I don't mess up. Okay, I've got to do good because I'm trying for the gold. And if I don't get the gold, then that's going to be a problem because this, that. They're not talking themselves into a great performance. They're coming into a stillness of being. So that they can perform from their true power. Imagine going through your entire life, attending to all that's going to be coming at you, attending to all the dynamics and shifts and conversations and changes and opportunities lost and all the happenings of life. And even all the happenings of your own triggered emotions. Imagine being able to be present to all of that from a true rested grace of stillness and peace and wholeness. To do so, we have to remember that wholeness again and again and again and again and again. With practice, with devotion, with study, you can master this inner world, the inner being. So that your true strength and your true power and your true love and your true peace is present and alive and awake in every moment, no matter what is happening all around you. And it doesn't mean that an experience isn't going to happen that is disappointing or difficult or sorrowful or even painful. Absolutely. That's life. That's the wholeness of life. But when you're rested as the movie screen